Hey everyone, today we're diving into the world of Daggerheart, the brand new tabletop RPG from Critical Role that's been making waves. If you've played D&D or other TTRPGs before, you'll notice some familiar vibes with the classes, like your trusty bard. But Daggerheart really shines with its unique twists. The subclasses in particular take things to the next level. For example, the Bard's Troubadour and Wordsmith aren't just different names, they offer totally distinct ways to play, letting you tailor your character to your own style. Now I know what you're thinking, every game has that one class that just feels stronger than the rest, right? And yep, Daggerheart isn't immune to that. Some classes do tend to outshine others depending on how you want to approach the game, but that's part of the fun, figuring out which class fits your playstyle best and mastering its quirks. Take the Seraph, for example. It's this cool blend of fighter and healer, making it a super versatile choice for players who want to be on the front lines but still support the party. So as we go through the classes in Daggerheart, keep in mind that it's the subclasses that really bring out the flavor. Whether you want to charm your way through challenges as a bard or bring divine light as a seraph, these options give you so much freedom to build the character you've always wanted. Stick around because we're about to rank these classes not just by power, but by how fun and unique they really are to play. I'm quickly moving on to the video and I'm ranking classes in Daggerheart. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Bard, Rogue, and Wizard. Alright, let's get real about these B tier classes in Daggerheart. The ones that try hard, but sometimes feel like the background actors in a blockbuster movie. You know, the characters who show up, do their part, but you're not really lining up for their autograph afterward. They're good, no doubt, but just a bit underwhelming compared to the A-listers. Starting with the Bard. The Bard, the classic party cheerleader, the ultimate hype squad. You're there boosting your teammates with buffs, telling stories, singing songs, and maybe slipping in a joke or two. The problem? The Bard's subclasses, Troubadour and Wordsmith, don't exactly scream unique. They're basically variations on the same theme. Help your team by giving hope, which, if you're wondering, is the game's way of saying, I got your back. Or clear away stress, but that usually costs you some hit points. So you're kind of sacrificing yourself just to keep everyone else standing. It's noble, but also a bit one note, like being stuck on repeat with your favorite karaoke jam. Next up, the Rogue. Simple, sneaky, and a little deadly. That's the Rogue in a nutshell. You hide in the shadows, wait for the perfect moment, then bam, dish out serious damage. When you're cloaked, you add extra damage dice, which feels pretty badass. But honestly, the subclasses don't shake things up much. Syndicate is more for those who want to flex their roleplay muscles, which is cool if that's your vibe. The Nightwalker subclass, it's basically just doing more of what you already do, like reheating leftovers because you don't feel like cooking something new. Now Wizards. These guys bring the magic, but with a catch. Some of their best tricks rely on the luck of the dice rolls. So if you're not feeling lucky, well, better have a backup plan. Their features aren't exactly fireworks every time. Prestidigitation is a neat little touch, something you can flavor with roleplay, like flicking sparks around to impress your party or annoy the local tavern keeper. The Strange Patterns feature can be awesome when it works, but it's a bit like that wildcard in poker, exciting but unpredictable. The School of Knowledge subclass focuses on handling domain cards, which sounds cool but can get complicated fast, especially if you're new. Meanwhile, the School of War tries to bring some punch, like conjuring a magical shield, but it costs hope, so you're trading offense for defense, and you gotta watch your resources. So yeah, these classes have their moments, but they tend to hover in that middle ground. Not bad, but not exactly showstoppers. They might be the perfect pick for newer players who want something straightforward without too many bells and whistles, or maybe for the folks who enjoy slow building strategies and lots of roleplay. One thing about B tier classes is they don't overwhelm you with complexity, which can be a blessing or a curse. On one hand, you're not drowning in rules or mechanics. On the other, you might miss the excitement that comes from more dynamic abilities. It's like going to a party where the music's nice but the dance floor is kinda small. If you're a player who loves to get deep into combat strategy or wants flashy subclass powers that turn heads, these might not be your go-to picks. But if you appreciate the subtle art of support or enjoy the storytelling side of the game without having to juggle a dozen mechanics, you could find a comfy spot here. At the end of the day, Daggerheart's B tier classes aren't failures. They're just chill. The kind of classes you invite to hang out because they're reliable, but you're not expecting them to steal the spotlight. And honestly, sometimes that's exactly what a party needs. Balance is key, right? So if you're sitting there thinking, maybe I just want to play it safe and have a good time without pulling my hair out over complicated rules, the Bard, Rogue, or Wizard in B tier might be exactly what you need. Simple, solid, with just enough flair to keep things interesting, like your favorite comfy hoodie of classes. The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Sorcerer, Guardian, and Warrior. Alright, buckle up because we're diving into the A tier classes in Daggerheart. The dependable, no-nonsense options for players who know exactly what they want without chasing every flashy trick in the book. Think of these classes like your trusty pair of jeans, comfortable, reliable, and they get the job done without making a fuss. So if you're the kind of player who prefers to jump in and actually play instead of sweating over every single ability, this tier is basically your playground. Let's start with the Sorcerer. Now, Sorcerers are like that friend who's got a million stories to tell, some of which make perfect sense and some, well, they're a bit all over the place. The class gives you plenty of options, which sounds amazing, right? But here's the catch. The subclasses don't quite mesh together like a perfectly brewed potion. They feel a bit scattered, so while the base Sorcerer features shine, you might find yourself leaning more into roleplay than pure gameplay domination. And heads up, if you love detail, you'll adore this class, because you're going to be describing your actions in vivid, dramatic fashion, which can be a lot of fun or a little exhausting depending on your style. Next up, Guardians. These guys are like the dependable bodyguard in your crew, always ready to take a hit and keep everyone else safe. Damage reduction is their bread and butter, and if you pick the Stalwart subclass, you're basically turning into a walking, talking shield that your teammates will thank you for. But let's be real, outside of tanking damage and protecting others, Guardians don't have a lot of flashy moves. The Vengeance subclass spices things up by flipping the script and making you a damage-dealing menace who also gets buffs when you smack your enemies. Which is cool, but still not enough to vault the class higher on the list. Now, the Warrior. Oh boy, if the Guardian is your reliable shield, the Warrior is your trusty hammer. Simple, straightforward, and effective. You can't really go wrong picking this class, especially if you want to control the battlefield without breaking a sweat. The Call of the Slayer subclass, that one's all about packing a punch, dealing extra damage like a true berserker. Meanwhile, Call of the Brave asks a bit more from you. Think of it like training to be a disciplined knight rather than a wild warrior. But it's solid and worth a try if you enjoy tactical play. Here's the thing about these classes, they aren't flashy, but that's their charm. They won't overwhelm you with endless abilities or confuse you with weird combos. Instead, they keep the game grounded and let you focus on the fun part, kicking butt and having a good time. If variety is your jam, maybe look elsewhere, but if you want a class that feels like a steady companion through the wilds of Daggerheart, these are your go-tos. What's great is that each of these classes comes with its own personality baked right into their core mechanics. The Sorcerer's chaotic charm, the Guardian's rock-solid defense, and the Warrior's straightforward power all offer different flavors without too much complexity. It's like ordering a classic pizza versus trying a new experimental topping combo. Sometimes the classic just hits the spot. One thing to watch out for is that Sorcerers might demand a little more from you as a player. You'll need to paint some vivid pictures with your words and get creative with how you use your spells. So, if you're someone who enjoys a bit of theatrical flair or storytelling in your gameplay, this is right up your alley. Guardians, on the other hand, are a bit more hands-off in terms of complexity. If you like being the dependable team player who soaks up damage and protects others without fuss, you'll feel right at home. Just don't expect to be the flashy damage dealer in the party. That's not their style. Warriors sit comfortably in the middle ground. They offer solid damage, battlefield control, and subclasses that cater both to straightforward smashers and more strategic fighters. If you want to keep things simple but effective, the Warrior class has your back. So, in the grand scheme of Daggerheart, these A-tier classes are perfect if you're ready to commit to something solid without needing every possible option at your fingertips. They're the reliable backbone of your adventure. Not the flashy fireworks, but definitely the steady flame that keeps the party going. Whether you're casting spells, tanking hits, or smashing faces, you can't really go wrong here. The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Druid, Seraph, and Ranger. Alright, buckle up, because we're diving deep into the creme de la creme of Daggerheart classes, the absolute top tier legends you'll want on your side no matter what kind of player you are. These are the kinds of classes that don't just sit there looking pretty, they bring the fire, the brains, and that juicy versatility that keeps every play session fresh and exciting. First up, the Druid. Oh man, the Druid is basically the Swiss Army knife of Daggerheart. This class is so flexible it practically says, I'll do whatever you want. You get to transform into creatures, which is awesome, but here's the kicker. It costs either hope or stress depending on how you use that transformation. So you're constantly balancing risk and reward, which keeps things spicy. Plus, their subclasses couldn't be more different. If you're feeling aggressive, Warden of the Elements turns you into a damage-dealing powerhouse who can still protect yourself. But if healing and support is more your vibe, Warden of Renewal lets you take care of the party by removing stress and throwing out heals like your Oprah handing out cars. You get healing, everybody gets healing. Now, the Seraph class is something else entirely. They've got this prayer's dice mechanic that's basically a godsend. You get to use your prayer to reduce damage, boost your rolls, or gain hope. And you can do this 4 times per session if the dice gods smile on you. The Divine Wielder subclass lets you smack multiple enemies or clear out either 2 hit points or 2 stress, which is like having your cake and eating it too. And then there's the Winged Sentinel. Imagine being able to fly, remove fear from the Game Master's pool, and deal extra damage. Seriously, this class is like a holy Swiss Army knife. No bad options here, just pure angelic chaos. Then there's the Ranger, which really zooms in on battlefield tactics. You've got the Hope ability that lets you hit multiple targets at once and marking enemies with focus to reap all sorts of benefits. Plus, re-rolling your duality die? Yes, please. The Beastbound subclass gives you an animal companion that can actually soak damage for you, making you feel like a real-life Pokemon trainer, but way cooler and with more stress. On the flip side, the Wayfinder subclass is all about piling on stress damage and eventually removing a fear die from the Game Master's fear pool. It's like you're controlling the battlefield's emotional thermostat. The Ranger has this unique identity that just screams strategic mastermind. What really ties all these S-tier classes together is their ability to let you express your own playstyle while still being solid choices in every situation. You're never forced into a cookie-cutter build with these bad boys. Want to be the tanky healer? Druid's got you. Prefer flying around smiting enemies while buffing your team? Seraph's got your back. Fancy yourself a sniper with a loyal beast by your side? Ranger's your jam. And let's be honest, there's something magical about having clear, distinct subclass options that aren't just flavor text. These subclasses really shake up how you play, adding layers of depth and giving you tons of replay value. You can try one out and feel like a totally different player the next time you jump in. It's like buying one game, but getting 3 for the price of one. Plus, these classes manage to be beginner-friendly without sacrificing complexity. You don't have to be a seasoned Daggerheart veteran to pick up a Druid, Seraph, or Ranger and start having a blast. But at the same time, if you're the type who loves to crunch numbers and plan intricate combos, these classes give you all the tools to geek out on strategy and optimization. In the end, the S tier isn't just about raw power or flashy abilities. It's about versatility, depth, and the pure joy of finding a class that feels like it was made just for you. Whether you want to heal, smite, or strategically control the battlefield, these classes have got your back, and then some. So, next time you're gearing up to jump into Daggerheart, remember that the Druid, Seraph, and Ranger are your go-to powerhouses. They're not just good, they're exceptional. And that's why they sit proudly at the top of the tier list, ready to turn your adventure into an epic tale worth retelling. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.